Welcome back everyone to Learning English with Lily. It's time for the second part of my interview with Jamie, the South African Globetrotter. Okay, this time we talk about Jamie's job as the marketing director of Desert and Delta Safaris in Botswana. And we also play a little game where I test Jamie on the collective nouns for different groups of animals. So you may have heard of a pack of wolves or a pride of lions, but we have a look at some slightly less common ones. Before I go through the vocabulary, here is some awesome wildlife footage from Jamie and his colleagues in Botswana. Enjoy.
We're in Chobe, everybody. My favorite place in Botswana.
If you're interested in an authentic safari experience in Botswana, then why not check out the Desert and Delta website, which I've put in the video description for you. Okay, on to the vocabulary. Wind up. This is a phrasal verb which unfortunately has a load of different meanings. In this video, it means to end an activity. Let's say you're in a meeting and it's time to finish. So you could say, okay, everyone, let's wind things up, which basically means let's finish the meeting. A close call. So this is where a situation which you really don't want to happen almost happens, but you just manage to avoid it.
Do you want to come round my house later to play PlayStation? Yeah, sounds good, yeah. Oh no, there's that annoying neighbour of yours that never stops talking. Duck!
Hello? Hello? Where is everyone? Normally someone to talk to. Hello?
That was a close call. Tell me about it.
A fault line is a place where there is a break or a fracture in the rock that forms the surface of the earth. And it means that in this area, earthquakes are more common. Northern Botswana, for example, has a set of deep fault lines running beneath the ground. Bounce back. This means to recover. So to be successful again after a difficult period or a failure. If your football team lose the first 4 games of the season, but then go on to win the following 5 games, you can say that they've bounced back. FYI. So this is a very useful acronym, and it stands for your information. Okay, FYI, the second part of the interview is about to begin. You stumbled across a travel agency in Bournemouth, waving your Aussie passport around, claiming to be Australian, and you got a job there.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I did learn very quickly is that I didn't know anything about Australia, the place I was born, to be honest with you. My very first client, he was like, right, we're going to start off in Broome, and then we'd like to take a flight across to Byron Bay, and then we want to go to the Whit Sundays. And I was like, the Whit what? And in those days, Google and maps and stuff was not really like your go-to. So one of my colleagues taught me a really good trick. Sorry, my colleague just over here needs a little bit of assistance with one of these flights and bookings. Could I just pop you on hold for a moment? Boom, on hold. Where the hell are the Whitsunday Islands?
I mean, the Whitsundays are a pretty key tourist destination in Australia, so that just goes to show how bad your geographical knowledge of Australia was at the time.
Yeah, but fake it till you make it.
How long did you work there for?
In Bournemouth, I was there for another 2 years working in sales. I sold a lot of trips, and I wanted to move to London. You know, a lot of people just said you can't live in the UK and not have an experience of living in London.
But you always knew that you wanted to go back to Africa. I remember you telling me, you were like, Africa's in my blood.
Totally. Yeah, always, Lils. And that was the weird thing. I got sucked into the Australian travel industry and loved it. I then got involved in marketing. So I got to travel I actually represented a place called Wilson Island. How cool is that?
His name's James Wilson, in case you didn't catch that.
As much as I was loving the Australian tourism industry, working with a great guy in Germany, of all places, but that's, let's not get into details of how I ended up in Germany, but I was working
you went to Germany and lived there for a while, didn't you? Such a traveler.
I know. At that moment, I realized my passion lies within Africa and all those countries around there and the wildlife. I got to make a plan to go to Africa, and I'm going to make the move and make the plan now whilst I'm still young and I still can.
So you went back to Africa. How long ago? You said 8 years you've been living in Botswana, but had you already started working for Desert and Delta Safaris?
I did try and apply for jobs while I was still living in Germany, but it's just hard to put the network out there without physically being there on the ground. And so I resigned. I just resigned from my job. I think I gave my employer 6 months notice, and we wound things up, and I booked a ticket. I booked a one-way ticket to South Africa, and I had my sights set on Zimbabwe, Namibia, or Botswana. Those were the places that were, for me, the more authentic, wild safari experiences. When I got to South Africa, a friend of mine put me onto Desert and Delta Safaris. And yeah, I had a job before I even flew up to Botswana. So it was great. I was really lucky.
Okay, so tell us about your job. Can you describe it? Can you evoke an image for viewers?
To put it into context, I mean, Botswana is part of one of the greatest last wilderness areas in the world, not just in Africa. The place that I moved to straight away for my first job is called Chobe National Park. It's a lodge right up on this river called the Chobe River. That area supports the largest concentration of elephants on the entire planet. So Botswana as a country has about 1/3 of all of Africa's entire elephant population just in this country. And about 1/3 of those are in this region called Chobe. So you've got way more elephants out there than humans, and they roam free. So it couldn't have been a better place for me to go to, because I went from dreaming of being involved in Africa again to being deposited into this national park, surrounded by these animals. I mean, my house that I lived in, it had free roaming wildlife around me. I would have to watch myself every time I walked from my front door to my vehicle 40 meters away, in case there was a lion or an elephant or whatever the case is. So it was truly wild. What makes it such an amazing wildlife area is that it's supported by all of this water, which comes in from different areas. So you've got the Zambezi River, which pushes into Chobe, and then you've got the Okavango Delta I spoke about earlier. So you can imagine there's all this wildlife around the desert that is just drawn to the water.
You said you had to watch yourself, kind of watch your back, because I remember you used to go because you run.
Yeah, there have been a lot of close calls, but when you live in this part of the world, you know how to behave around dangerous animals, and we look after the tourists. So we tell them to stay with us and stay close. But
But that's what makes it exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's right. You've got to live life on the edge. But I mean, yeah, of course, there's been some horrible stories from local people. Very few and far between, but we're vigilant. But you're always like, whoa, there's a sudden moment where you often go, whoa,
So 2 things I wanted to ask you that are particularly relevant at the moment. Do you see the effects of climate change? Do you see it? Have you seen the effects of climate change worsen since you got there 8 years ago? What's your take on it?
That's a really interesting question, Lils. I don't like to dismiss the challenges that face us with regards to climate change, because I strongly believe that climate change is a massive factor. But unfortunately, the media tends to hype up
Fake news.
It is fake news. They took photographs of a section of Victoria Falls, which dries almost every single year. And those are the headline photos that they use. We go through cycles wherever we are in terms of the water that comes into the country. So we live on several fault lines here. And because it's such a flat desert land, every little seismic shift that we have sends water down to different areas and different places. So there's every possibility
So it's
that
just extremely unreliable.
it is, and you never know what is going to happen one year.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to ask you about was COVID-19, how it's affected you guys.
It's really bad. I think the travel industry's been one of the hardest hit industries because nobody can travel. So we will bounce back. The thing is, you, the traveler, mean so much to the African continent in terms of tourism. So we need travelers.
Okay, I'm going to play a little game with you. I'm going to give you some animals and you're going to give me the collective noun. Okay, so the name for the group of those animals. Let's see how knowledgeable he really is. Buffalo. What do you call a group of buffalo?
That would be a herd of buffalo, Lily.
According to this very trustworthy website, that is incorrect. It says an obstinacy or a gang. But a herd of buffalo does sound right, so we'll double check.
Where's your source?
It's called owlcation.com. Collective names for groups of animals.
Were we just speaking about fake news, Lils?
Okay, what do you call a group of zebras?
Dazzle.
Yes, very good. What do you call a group of cheetah? Is it cheetah or cheetahs? Cheetahs.
I think you'd find it's just cheetah. It's quite a solitary animal though. Yeah, can I have multiple choice?
Is it a colony? Is it a caravan? Or is it a coalition?
Coalition.
Correct, but that's only because it was the last choice and you knew I was going to choose the last one.
I like caravan
All right.
though. I thought for a minute, because they do like to walk one behind each other.
Camels is a caravan of camels, apparently. What do you call a group of hyenas?
Ooh.
I won't give you multiple choice, but I'll give you a clue. How does a witch laugh? What do you call a witch's laugh?
Cackle?
Very good! A cackle of hyenas, apparently.
Listen, just FYI, I reckon half the guides in the country wouldn't know what these collective nouns are.
These collective nouns are ridiculous because no one knows them. A clan or a cackle of hyenas. This one, I'm pretty sure is correct. I've heard it before. A group of giraffes.
That is, there's actually 2. If the giraffe are moving along in a group, it's considered a journey of giraffe. And if they are standing still, they are a tower.
Very good. So this says tower. Okay. 3 out of 4. Dolphins. I know there aren't any dolphins in Botswana, but what do you call a group of dolphins? This is quite a common one.
Pod. No, hang on. Wait. No. It's not a pod. It's a pod.
It's a pod. It's a pod.
It is a pod.
It's a pod. Well done. Okay, last one. Ooh, this is an interesting one. I knew this word had a different meaning. What do you call a group of baboons?
Well, judging by your amusement, I'm wondering if I've got the correct one as per your dodgy website. But I'm going with troop of baboons.
Very good. A troop of baboons, or also a flange.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not having it.
baboon. Flange is a horrible word for vagina. So,
if you don't know what it is, look it up on Urban Dictionary.
UrbanDictionary.com. It's a good website. It'll tell you all of the rude words that you hear or that you don't know the meaning of. You can find the definitions on urbandictionary.com. Jamie, you fared very well.
Thank you very
4
much.
out of 5 or 5 out of 6. Jamie, thanks very much. Say goodbye to viewers.
Bye, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I hope you found my waffling and history and all my talk interesting in some way. Bye.
Okay, that's it from me. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I will be back next Friday. Have a lovely week. See you soon.